Hi everyone, I wanted to share 3 tips that have really helped me maintain weight during isolation, and actually it just helps me maintain weight in general. Tip number 1. When you sit to the table, make sure your meal lasts 20 minutes. Make sure you plate for the meal. You don't plate to then take seconds. So keep that in mind when you fill up your plate. A little tip that could really help you is look at your plate. 20 divided by 4 is exactly 5 minutes. I know it sounds a bit technical, but it is really useful. If you imagine your plate divided in 4, then each section should take you 5 minutes. Or when you roughly look at the amount of food that you have on the plate, about a quarter should take you at least 5 minutes to eat. Why 20 minutes? Because 20 minutes is about the time that it takes from the moment you eat the food and it slowly reaches your tummy until the point where it goes to the brain and the brain figures out, oh, I'm full now. So again, be creative, speak to people, put the fork down, look around, keep yourself busy, and make the food last. Now, I'll tell you why it's important to work structurally when you're trying to break habits. Food is connected with emotions. I can imagine 3 things happening when you're sitting down to eat. One is you eat by yourself, then thoughts will come, you might feel lonely, things come up that worry you, and to be honest, when nobody's watching us, it's easier to overeat. Second scenario is you're sitting with your family or you're serving to your family, and then when there's a lot of distraction around, again, it is easy to sometimes overeat. And then the third scenario is if you're eating in front of the telly. Not recommended. Don't eat in front of the telly. But again, if you are, then it's super easy to be distracted because the conscious mind is kind of more relaxed. You're not as aware of what you're doing, and then very easy again to overeat. How are we going to make food last 20 minutes? A lot of us eat and within less than 5 minutes, the plate is empty. So that leads us to tip number 2. Which is chew slowly and a lot. How did I teach myself to chew slowly? The way I feel it is the mouth area has almost like 2 parts. There's the front part, the immediate chewing, and then there's the backside of the mouth where it falls down to the throat. Now again, I'm going very technical here because our society tends to just get everything quick, done now. And so we chew a lot faster than we probably should. So I'm recommending going from not noticing what you're doing to being very technical and starting to notice how you're eating and how you're chewing. So once you've finished chewing in the front, which will probably take a few seconds, then the food starts to go back. Now, I'm not even kidding. You do what a cow would do. You push it forward again a bit. I know it sounds a bit disgusting, but it's not at all after you get used to it. Suddenly it's normal. Suddenly it's like, I should chew a bit more. Just getting used to rolling the food in your mouth long enough till it is very warm and very soft and then swallowing it. So if you haven't given up by this point because you're totally disgusted, let's move on to tip number 3. And that is keep your hands off the table while you chew. Seriously, people. Once you're doing the chewing process, a lot of us would just hang on with a fork and pick up the food for the next bite. You know what I mean? So what you need to learn to do is put the bite in your mouth, put the fork down, and take your hands off the table. No hands, no elbows, nothing. And sit back. And then start the chewing process. Again, very technical details. Because we are so used to something that we're already doing, we need to break the habit. So once the hands are off the table and you've leaned back, you've created a distance between you and the plate. You know how sometimes in situations, a person who's been outside of the situation may have a more objective reaction because they're not in it, so they can see it from the outside. That gives you perspective. If you back away from the plate, you put the fork down, and you kind of take yourself out of the equation of the constant eating while you slowly chew your food. It enables you to detach from the act of eating and pay attention to what's going on around you. But at the same time, it also enables you to really look at yourself and to check, am I still hungry? How hungry am I? Let's wait until this bite goes down and then I'm going to make myself ready for the next bite. But I have also gained a new perspective about how hungry I am really. Now I can honestly tell you that every time I do it, it works. If you stick to the system, there is no failure. You might not succeed the first couple of times, but once you picked up on it, it doesn't fail. Let's just recap. Tip number 1, your meal lasts 20 minutes, so plate accordingly. Tip number 2, practice slow and constant chewing. Roll the food around in your mouth, and when it starts going back, you bring it forward again. And I would do that twice, but you have to do what's right for you. So just fill it out a few times and see how long you can let the food last in your mouth. Tip number 3, no hands or elbows on the table while you're chewing. So put the fork down, put your elbows off the table, relax, sit back a bit, listen to other people and engage in conversation, or just pay attention to yourself and reconnect with your tummy. And by the time you're done, I can promise you, you'll gain a new perspective on exactly how hungry you are. And I think we can all use a little bit of help in that department now that we're stuck in the house and being less active. So good luck with it. Do comment below if you've got any questions and if there's anything else I can help you with. In the meantime, stay safe.